Today I want to talk about the dreams that happen during the awakening process. So I think most of the time when you hear people talk about dream analysis, they're talking about it from a purely 3D perspective. They're talking about this is all your subconscious. Every time you see this, it means that. And I would say a lot of the time, I would say probably 80% of the time, your dreams are subconscious processing, especially when you start to wake up, because that's when the energy kind of starts moving all through your chakras and you start to, get into more self awareness. So the subconscious does start to work in overtime. And on this channel, I plan to go over all of the different types of dreams that you may have and the different dream symbols that you may come across during your awakening. But I want to talk about just the different types of things that can happen during the period after you kind of start waking up, because it becomes a crazy world. So I had my Kundalini activation in 2014, which opened up my chakras. And one of the things that was the most pronounced for me was that my dream time ended up feeling more like my real life than my current life. And it was really a challenging time. I mean, honestly, this was involving a twin flame. He kept on showing up in my dreams, and I was like, who is this person? Why are they entering my dream space? And so that is one example of something that can happen, is you can start encountering other people during your dream time. And no, it is not necessarily your subconscious. It can be a aspect of them that's meeting you in the dream time world. And so you can have these interactions with people. So that's one example. And another example that you can have is that you can encounter other people from either past lives, parallel lives, or they can be, more precognitive, I guess. Um, so there's all different ways that people can show up, and it takes time to kind of be able to understand, is this showing me a past life? Is this showing me a parallel life? Is this something that is indicating something's going to happen in the future with this person? And so there's all sorts of different scenarios. And so what I really recommend for people is to get a journal and just start writing down all the dreams that you have. And then later on, you can kind of start to piece together things and kind of get a better picture of stuff. And also, just in general, the dream time and the dream space is an amazing way to learn more about yourself. I mean, I'm sure that most people have seen that image where it kind of talks about, it shows the glacier and how much of your subconscious is, the larger part of it. So the conscious part is actually really small. And so a lot of times when we think we have an understanding about something, about why we do something or why we're a certain way, our conscious mind is saying it's because of this, but actually there's all these different other reasons why it could be happening that we just have not figured that part out yet. So when you get into the dreams, it's really good because it helps you understand and navigate where you are in your journey, and it's telling you, it's bringing stuff forward for you to understand about yourself. Now, the other things that you can experience during the awakening, the types of dreams that you may have, are precognitive. And so this was something that really started to happen to me right away. I started experiencing things, and they were, for me, I would experience them right as I was going to sleep. That's kind of like this kind of knee jerk kind of reaction, where I think it's called like a hypnic jerk or something like that. But I was actually seeing things that were going to happen either that next day or a few days later. So I always felt like they were kind of a warning to me, like a little message, like pay attention to this. And so I'll just give you one example. For some reason, most of mine, and I mean, it makes sense, but a lot of times, a lot of dangers are out driving around. And so in this one, I had an image of a dog running out in front of my car. And, of course, I like woke up startled, and that did end up happening like a day or two later. So I think, that is something that could happen. You start, having precognitive dreams. Um, Another thing that you can start to experience during the dream time space is you may start to have out of body experiences or astral projection. And this one is really wild. I will say that it's been a while since I've actually had one. But when they first started happening, it was just crazy because I could feel this, your soul, I guess, just pops out of your body, and mine would like go underneath the mattress and, go out the side. And you're just kind of, having fun and being playful about it. I've had ones where I remember, distinctly going in a little loop de loop and then going back into my body. But interestingly, in that particular instance, when I was getting back into my body, I remember I felt like I was sliding down the bed, and I felt this arm grab me, and I realized, I thought, oh my gosh, something's grabbing me, and I remember in my mind saying, please don't hurt me. And then I got back in my body, and I felt like this sense of energetic rush, like love. And I asked a psychic about that experience later because I did not understand what that was. And they told me that a lot of times when you're going out of body, that it's hard for your body, for you to get back into your body, and so your guides will sit there and help you get back into your body. And so that explains why I kind of felt that little rush of love going on, because they were trying to assure me it's okay, we're helping you. So let's see, we've got out of body experiences, you've got precognition. You can end up having dreams about other people from past lives and from parallel lives, from, it can be also precognitive things letting you know something's going to happen. I'm trying to think about what else you might experience. Well, you can, a lot of people start having experiences with, it may be beings from other worlds. That's another one. I have had some dreams where I am not quite sure exactly what these things were or what it was, but you can definitely start interacting with people or beings in other realms. So as you start to, awaken and your vibration goes up, you can start, not only interacting with other people that you know in this life, but you can possibly be interacting with galactic type family in certain dreams. And let's see, there was something else I was going to say about dreams. Another thing I was going to talk about is you may also start having experiences in the hypnagogic state. So this is when you're kind of in between sleep states. So you can actually be in another realm, but still kind of feel like you're awake and in your bed. And so I've had a lot of experiences in the hypnagogic state, and so that is also where you may encounter beings from lower realms, such as negative entities. I have experienced some other beings that I honestly don't know what they're called, but they look human, but I think they were some sort of black magic that kind of was developed. It's kind of like a proxy energy type of situation. But I don't think that's very common. But in the hypnagogic state is you can also interact with other people. So I've also had interactions with a split soul twin flame that, when you're in, there's two different ways that I've experienced the astral world. I've experienced it where it's more, I'm aware that I have my body, but I'm kind of still in this sleep state. And from my understanding, that is what's called you being in the Ka body. So you kind of have your exact body, but it's a duplicate in this other realm. And I also had it where you actually leave your complete body and just pop out and you're just energy. So I've had those two different types of experiences where you're in a different realm, and one you're just, an energy source, and then another one you're actually in your full size body. It's kind of hard to explain, and that only happened like a couple of times. But I have not really had that many actual interactions with galactic type beings. I've had a few dreams and like psychic experiences, but not necessarily in the dream time space. I have had some really amazing, beautiful dreams though, and I will cover those in another video. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about dreams and understand that when you start to awaken, you're going to have different types of experiences in the dream time. It's not all going to be subconscious programming. Sometimes you are going to get information, especially when you meet people that you have had other past lives with, that can trigger you to remember and start either having memories of you together in different lifetimes, or it could be, parallel lives or a future life. But I had that happen after I met my soul tribe in 2016. As soon as I met them, I started having tons of dreams with them in it, and it was clearly, different locations. I mean, some of them were pretty wild. So anyway, so that's it. Let me know in the comments if you have had some really crazy dreams since your awakening, and I look forward to sharing more information about dreams.